It's my pleasure to rise today and respond to this short-term energy plan on behalf of Tim Hudak and the next progressive Conservative government of the province of Ontario. Speaker, this government here has a lot of nerve to come into this Assembly today and tell Ontarians that they are not going to be paying as much as they had originally projected, given Ontario's last decade of decline. In fact, I think achieving balance should be called the decade of decline, and here's why, Speaker. Right now, the media is trying to calculate how much this is actually going to cost. Is it 36% more, according to the government's numbers, or 50% more, according to the auditor's numbers? We know this government pretended that they were going to create 50,000 new jobs as a result of the Green Energy Act. How many have we seen, Speaker? We might as well say zero, because the auditor himself, the previous auditor, said to us that for every every job that was created as a result of green energy, we lost 3 in the province of Ontario. We have lost 300,000 manufacturing jobs in this province. Why? Predominantly because of high energy rates and high costs. And last week I read into the Assembly a very important document. The Canadian Vehicle Manufacturers Association asked me to send to me their quote. More recently, a combination of factors, not the least of which is revised policy goals, have converged to make Ontario rates higher than competing jurisdictions. This is important, Speaker. For example, electricity costs for a typical large-scale assembly operation in the U.S. Midwest are estimated to be as much as $5 million lower than those in Ontario. What does that mean? It means ratepayers in Toronto, those large power users, pay 123% more than in Chicago, 50% more than in Nashville, and 37% more than in Detroit. Speaker, that is a problem for our manufacturing base, and that is why our manufacturers deserve more than a short-term energy plan by a political minister and need a long-term energy plan from a government who's prepared to make the tough decisions and ensure that we have an appropriate energy supply in the province of Ontario. According to many of the stakeholders I've spoken to, the LTAP is nothing more than a candy store, something for everyone, procuring 300 megawatts of wind and 140 megawatts of solar in 2014 and 2015, even though the province does not need the power. You only have to listen to the minister when he talks about nuclear. They're going to triple the amount of wind power. I do not have to tell this minister how people across the province of Ontario have reacted to his wind power policy. They are tired of it. They can't afford it. They want it to stop, and that's what Tim Hudak will do. The 87-page LTAP is a frank admission of this government's failed economic agenda. It abandons any pretense of an economic growth and prosperity plan that we need to get this province back on track. I moved to this province because it was an economic generator for all of Confederation. They've made it sputter along based on their industrial policy, based on their energy policy. And this report commits the province to annual progress reports, but the LTAP is silent on who takes responsibility if the targets are not met. Speaker, again, we have seen time and time and time again, whether it's the $1.1 billion gas plant boondoggle, whether it's the $1 billion at Orange, whether it's the $1 billion at eHealth, there is no accountability in this government. They have never met a target that they wanted to miss. And Speaker, I must say, let's go back to the gas plants. I find it passing strange that this government, on the heels of the Premier attending gas plants hearings tomorrow, would decide to have a major shift in energy policy today. Or might I say a minor shift in energy policy today. I think this is a sidestep. I think that this is a distraction. But I can commit to you today, Speaker, that this Progressive Conservative Party will continue to defend the taxpayers of this province, will continue to defend the ratepayers of this province, and we will hold that Premier accountable tomorrow with or without this short-term energy plan. Now, Speaker, I want to talk a little bit about what Tim Hudak would do. This is where it really comes into long-term planning for energy in this province. This is where we start to protect consumers of energy, whether it's the single mother in Barrhaven, whether it is a senior in Muskoka, or whether it's that manufacturer who wants to build good Ontario products right here. We have a plan, and let me tell you a little bit about it. We would end those handsome fit subsidies. We'd make sure that we aren't paying any more for power that we don't need. We would make sure that we have sensible trade agreements with neighboring jurisdictions, so we are not being outbid when it comes to getting them to settle here. We have a commitment to nuclear. We're not cancelling, we're not deferring, we're committing to nuclear, and we will make sure that we monetize some of those Crown assets. Speaker, we have a plan. Tim Hudak has a plan. Tim Hudak, when he's Premier, will make sure we implement that plan. Thank you.